Women have been discriminated for many years when it comes to the paycheck. In 2015, female all-day laborers made just 80 cents for each dollar earned by men. It has been determined that women will not reach parity until about 2059.
In the United States alone, men make on an average $51,212, while women only make $40,742. The Paycheck Fairness Act, introduced in 1977, closed the gender wage gap. However, Congress has not passed it. Like the women of Iceland, France, and the United States, women have recently started to take a stand on this issue.
The Equal Rights Amendment was first proposed by the National Women's Political Party in 1923. The ERA, written by Alice Paul, states that the rights guaranteed by the Constitution apply equally to all persons regardless of their sex. The three sections that made up the ERA are: Section 1. Equality of rights under the law shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. Section 2. The Congress shall have the power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article. Section 3. This amendment shall take effect 2 years after the date of ratification.
Feminists of the late 1960s and early 1970s saw ratification of the amendment as the only way to eliminate all legal gender-based discrimination in the United States. The ERA was the most highly publicized and debated constitutional amendment for the United States for most of the 1970s and early 1980s. First submitted by Congress to the states for ratification on March 22, 1972, it failed to be ratified by its final deadline of June 30, 1982. If ratified, the ERA would have become the 27th Amendment to the Constitution.
After the Equal Rights Amendment neglected to be approved, the Paycheck Fairness Act was presented. It obligated bosses to exhibit that wage differentials depend on elements other than sex, prohibiting any strikeback against specialists who ask about their employer's wage practices or uncover their own wages, fortifying punishments for equivalent pay infringement, and approving extra preparing for Equal Employment Opportunity Commission staff to better distinguish and handle wage debates. Since these acts have not yet been passed, women are protesting for their equality. In October 2016 at 2:38 p.m., thousands of women in Iceland left work to protest the gender wage gap in Ostravalar Square. They were essentially saying, on the off chance that I were a man, I may have earned my paycheck at this point, so I'm taking whatever is left of the evening off and demanding change. Even though Iceland is one of the highest ranking countries for gender equality, they continue to have unequal annual pay rates. The women in Iceland make 72 cents for every dollar a man makes. It has been projected that the gender wage gap in Iceland will not be closed for at least another 52 years.
Every year, the women of Iceland are protesting for pay equality, specifically on October 24th. This is known as Women's Day Off. About 90% of the nation's women decline to work or take part in household work to help everyone remember that the importance women have had on society and the working environment. This tradition started on October 24th, 1975. A 26-year-old protester informed Refinery 29, "We know that no country in the world has reached gender equality, but today reminds me that not even the country that is supposed to have the most equal rights pays women the same as men. Even though Iceland won't see change for another 50 years, these women aren't going to stop fighting for the rights they deserve." Another country in which women are protesting pay inequality is France. On Monday, November 7th, women across France, led by Rebecca Anselm, were encouraged to leave work at 4:34 p.m. to protest the gender wage gap. 4:34 p.m. is when women start to work voluntarily. The normal French woman is paid 15% less than the French man, which implies women work 38.2 more days every year than the man for the same salary. This protest was inspired by the women of the Icelandic protest. Women in France will not have equal pay rates until about 2186.
Most people wouldn't think that women soccer players would be discriminated when it came to the paycheck, but Carly Lloyd, Alex Morgan, Megan Rapinoe, Becky Sauerbrunn, and Hope Solo brought attention to the country that they are paid less than the men's soccer teams. "We have been quite patient over the years with the belief that the Federation would do the right thing and compensate us fairly," said Lloyd. "Recently, it has become clear that the Federation has no intention of providing us equal pay for equal work," said Rapinoe. "Women on professional soccer teams earn about 28% to 68% less than men's soccer players, depending on how the game went. Also, when the women's team won the championship game in 2015, they were only paid $2 million, while the men's team was paid $9 million, and they lost around 16.
In addition, the women are paid at maximum of $4,950, even if they win every game, while the men's team earns somewhere around $17,625, and if they lose, they can still earn $5,000. The least demand can under game is how much a woman is paid at maximum. There's nothing good about all these players not earning what they deserve. They work as hard if not harder than men, and yet they still get paid less. The women's soccer players are not going to stop fighting for equal pay. This is a fight we're going to have to continue to fight from here on forward, said Solo. I don't see it getting any easier, but it's something we are committed to. And it's not just in the sports world, it's everywhere you look. They are not going to stop fighting until the Federation gives the women's team the equal pay they deserve.
On January 21st, the Women's March took place at Washington, D.C. This march is a rally cry for women to show people that they deserve the same rights as men. Who knew the election results would be a lightning rod for women to gather and raise our voice, said Sabrina K. Garba, CEO of Glass Ladder. And here's one of the women who participated in the march.
Alright, so I did speak to several people at the rally, and the main purpose of the Women's March on Washington was to speak up around the rights of women that have been talked about a lot by our new president. Some of these issues include gender equality, women's rights, reproductive rights, equal pay for women. When I spoke to several other people at the rally, they were there also for LGBTQ rights. Now I was here at the rally because I am here to support my two daughters. And one of my daughters, she is part of the LGBTQ community, and my other daughter is a very large advocate of climate change. And I support both these subjects, but I also support all the other reasons why all the women are here. And I totally believe that this march will make a difference. I mean, 77 other countries also participated in this worldwide march for women's rights, for LGBT rights, for gender rights to be recognized and heard, along with climate change. I mean, absolutely.
This protest will hopefully get a message out that women should be equal to men. On April 4th, National Equal Pay Day, there was a panel discussion at the Buffalo History Museum about the gender wage gap. We learned that women need to make better choices, specifically with their pay and working environment. We asked multiple people who attended the event what their thoughts were on the wage gap.
How can our generation resolve the gender wage gap?
So I'm not normally an optimist in a lot of things, but in this one I am fairly optimistic. I do believe that, especially your younger generation, armed with things like social media, you guys are so much more knowledgeable than the women. You know, when the one panelist was talking today and he was talking about young girls, 20 years ago, I don't know that I ever thought that I was not equal.
Well, I think your generation needs to mentor with women who are in your field of interest, who may be of a different age.
Your generation needs to be active, be vocal, to state that it is not acceptable that women or young women are paid less than males for the same jobs with the same experience.
How long do you think it will take to close the gap?
I think knowledge is your best ally and your best weapon. If you don't know that there's an issue, you're not going to fight for it. You're not going to pressure those around you. So just always be aware of just the idea that the pay gap does actually exist.
I'd say it'd be over with next year, but I doubt it, because it varies also by race. The average is 80%. So if a white male makes $1, the white woman generally makes 80 cents.
Women are not considered equal to men in many ways, including the paycheck. It is encouraging that women are taking a stand, even though the change may take a while. There's no stopping these women in getting the equal pay or rights they deserve. No matter how long it takes, they are going to keep protesting until the gap closes.